Making headlines this hour. President Muiz discusses boosting Maldives-Saudi economic ties with delegation led by Deputy Minister Sara Al-Sayed. Speaker of the Parliament Abdurrahim Abdullah expresses confidence that the 20th Parliament will perform even better next year. And Minister Ali Hussain says police must serve the public reasonably, warning that those who fail to do so have no place in the force.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Abdullah Ahil. And now the news in detail. President Dr. Mohamed Muiz appoints former Minister of Agriculture and Animal Welfare Dr. Aishat Ramila as a member of the Human Rights Commission of Maldives or HRCM. The Parliament approved Dr. Ramila's appointment to HRCM on the 29th of October following the completion of the term of the Commission's former President, Mariam Muna. Dr. Ramila was formally sworn in as a member of HRCM at a ceremony held at the President's office on Wednesday, with Supreme Court Justice Dr. Muhammad Ibrahim administering her oath of office. During the ceremony, President Muiz formally presented the letter of appointment to Dr. Ramila. Dr. Ramila was the first minister appointed to the Agriculture Ministry under the current government. She resigned from the cabinet on the 1st of December 2024 due to health reasons. The HRCM comprises 5 members, including its Vice President Mohammad Shafiq Mahmood, Member Samau Ahmad Najib Ismail Habib, and Ahmad Maqsoom. President Dr. Mohamed Muiz discusses strengthening economic cooperation between Maldives and Saudi Arabia in a meeting with a Saudi Arabian business delegation led by Sara Al-Sayed, Deputy Minister for International Relations at Saudi Arabia's Ministry of Investment.
The delegation's visit follows the President's audience with Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud, Crown Prince and Prime Minister of the Saudi Arabia, during his visit to the kingdom earlier this year to perform Hajj, where both sides discussed expanding investment cooperation between the Maldives and Saudi Arabia. The delegation's presence in Male is a significant step toward strengthening economic ties and exploring new, promising avenues of partnership between the two countries. Discussions during the call centered on deepening cooperation across several key sectors, including investment, private sector development, economic growth, agriculture, fisheries, artificial intelligence, information technology, and tourism. The delegation is also participating in the Maldives-Saudi Investment Roundtable, where they will engage directly with Maldivian government agencies and industry leaders across these thematic areas. The President expressed appreciation to Saudi Arabia for its long-standing generosity and support to the Maldives, noting that such assistance has greatly contributed to the nation's socio-economic development. He also conveyed heartfelt gratitude for the kingdom's role in facilitating the completion of Villana International Airport and for dispatching the distinguished delegation to the Maldives. The Saudi delegation in turn expressed their gratitude to the President and the government of the Maldives for the warm welcome and hospitality extended to them. Both parties reaffirmed their commitment to further enhancing the close and brotherly relations between the two countries. Cabinet ministers and senior officials from the President's office were also in attendance.
President Dr. Mohamed Muiz amends the presidential decree outlining single-use plastics deemed detrimental to the environment, postponing the prohibition on the packaging, production, and import of single-use plastic water bottle sized between 500 milliliters and 1 liter. The decision was made on the recommendation of the Ministry of Tourism and Environment. The amendment moves the original planned prohibition from the 1st of December 2025 to the 1st of December 2027. Similarly, the prohibition of the sale of the same category of plastic bottles has deferred. Previously set for implementation on the 1st of March 2026, the date has now been revised to the 1st of June 2028. This amendment has been incorporated into the presidential decree on the list of single-use plastics detrimental to the environment and have been published on the Government Gazette. Parliament votes to remove Criminal Court Judge Hossein Faiz Rashad from office, acting on a motion submitted by the Judicial Service Commission, citing judicial misconduct.
The legislature endorsed the decision with 56 members in favor and 8 opposed after the Judiciary Committee determined that the Commission's recommendation had adhered to procedural requirements. The dismissal followed an inquiry that found Judge Faiz had violated constitutional statutes during the detention hearings of Ali Anwar, a suspect accused of involvement in major drug trafficking operations. Investigators concluded that despite Anwar's alleged role in significant narcotics trafficking, the judge ordered his unconditional release after the expiration of a 5-day remand. Judge Faiz's removal comes after a series of disciplinary measures. In October, he was suspended for 60 days over his handling of the detention of Halimat Lahma, a defendant in a murder trial. He had previously faced a 2-month suspension in 2021 in connection with a leaked audio incident. Under the Judges Act, Parliament is authorized to remove a judge if the Judicial Service Commission deems them incompetent or guilty of misconduct, provided the motion secures a 2/3 majority in the legislature.
Speaker of the Parliament Abdul Rahim Abdullah expresses confidence that the 20th Parliament will perform even better next year.
The Parliament concluded its 3rd and final session for the year and went on recess on Wednesday. Speaking to PSM News, Speaker Abdul Rahim said 82 bills were introduced to the Parliament this year, with work on 60 bills completed. He said the focus had been on passing legislation that would ensure smoother and more efficient government operations. The Speaker highlighted that important bills are prioritized to ensure the government can deliver services without disruption, adding that the Parliament does not go on recess until pending critical work is completed, with extraordinary sessions sometimes held to ensure its completion. Expressing his satisfaction with the Parliament's performance this year, the Speaker noted that the current Parliament also completed some work inherited from the previous Parliament. He said the 20th Parliament will continue to focus on key legislative priorities to achieve the government's agenda in the coming year.
Minister of Homeland Security and Technology Ali Ihsan emphasized that the police service must serve the people responsibly, warning that officers who do not work for this purpose have no place in the force.
He made the remark while speaking to PSM News at the opening ceremony of the Local Policing Conference 2025. The minister highlighted that while the police service has been operational in the Maldives for 90 years, modernization efforts began around 20 years ago. However, today's society is changing rapidly, he noted, with changes to laws, perception, technology, and criminal patterns. The police service must also adapt its policies with the priorities of each government. Noting that frontline officers work closest with the public, the minister noted that the main purpose of the Local Policing Conference is to consult these officers and shaping police policies. Commissioner of Police Ismail Naveen said the conference focuses on increasing the participation of police in the atolls and building capacity in the islands. Highlighting that the police service is operating in 187 islands, he said it is a priority to assess the criminal environment and patterns in these areas and train officers accordingly.
We now bring you the call to prayer for Isha.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة والدرجة الرفيعة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته وارزقنا شفاعته برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
PSM ಗೆ ಟಿವಿ ಚಾನೆಲ್ ತಕ ರೇಡಿಯೋ ಚಾನೆಲ್ ತ ಮಿಹಾರು PSM Air ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ನು ತಿಯ ಬೇಫ್ರುನ್ನ ಹಿಲೆ ಬಲಾಲೆವೇನೆ ಅದಿ ಅಡುವ ಹಾಲೆವೇನೆ ದುನಿಯೆಗೆ ಕೊಮ್ಮೆ ತಾಗುಹುರೆಗೆ ಕೊಮ್ಮೆ ಗಡಿಯ PSM ಗೆ ಚಾನೆಲ್ ತ ಬಲಾಲುಮ ಅವಹ PSM Air app ಡೌನ್ಲೋಡ್ ಕುರವ್ವ ಮಿಹಾರು app ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಉನ್ನ Google Play Store ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ ಮಿ app ಡೌನ್ಲೋಡ್ ಕೊಲ್ಲೆವೇನೆ
Welcome back to our English news broadcast. We continue with the local headlines. Minister of Health Abdullah Nazim Ibrahim emphasizes the importance of monitoring children's development beyond the age of 2.
The Ministry of Health launched a developmental milestone tracking form to identify growth challenges and developmental delays in children, facilitating early intervention and treatment. Speaking at the launch ceremony, the minister noted that monitoring children's development beyond the age of 2 is currently low. He stressed the need to continue tracking it to maintain existing achievements. He further noted that the ministry's growth monitoring program has now been digitalized to allow parents to easily track their children's growth and development up to 5 years via phone. Health service providers across the Maldives will maintain this form and have undergone training to use it effectively. From 2027, the form is required to be filled for all children starting school in order to help professionals provide better care and to enable parents to identify any development challenges.
Dr. Aishat Shiham, Minister of Social and Family Development, states the government has facilitated employment for 350 persons with disabilities during the current term.
In a statement marking the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, observed annually on the 3rd of December, Minister Aishat Shiham said the occasion underscores a collective responsibility to uphold rights and strengthen empowerment for the disabled community. She described persons with disabilities as a demographic requiring heightened social protection, noting that safeguarding their rights is fundamental to building a compassionate society and resilient family structure. These efforts, she added, remain a central objective of the current administration. Pointing to the leadership of President Dr. Mohamed Muiz, the minister characterized the initiative to secure employment opportunities as a vital and deliberate policy decision intended to advance inclusivity and reinforce social progress. Reflecting on the past 2 years, she credited collaboration as the primary driver of success and outlined priorities for service improvement, including robust systems for early detection and treatment in childhood, income-generating pathways for capable school leavers, and essential life skills training. She stressed that interagency cooperation will be indispensable in ensuring effective implementation. This year's observance carries the theme Fostering Disability-Inclusive Societies for Advancing Social Progress, calling for greater participation of persons with disabilities within the broader community.
The Ministry of Tourism and Environment launches the Maldives Visitors Survey, a nationwide initiative to collect data from tourists departing the country.
The survey, which began at Velana International Airport and will continue until the 15th of December, is designed to gather demographic information and qualitative feedback on travelers' experience with local tourism products and services. Officials said the findings will be central to shaping evidence-based policy. By analyzing visitor responses, the ministry aims to refine tourism strategies and reinforce the Maldives' competitive standing, ensuring its continued prominence as a leading destination in the global marketplace. The survey comes at a moment of record growth in arrivals. Administrative data show that the Maldives currently welcomes an average of more than 6,000 visitors each day. As of the 29th of November, cumulative arrivals for the year had reached 2,014,358, surpassing the 2 million threshold and marking a 10% increase compared with the same period last year.
The Ministry of Youth Empowerment, Information and Arts announces that 541 young people have completed government-sponsored training and empowerment programs over the past 2 years, a milestone officials described as part of a broader effort to expand economic opportunity and strengthen youth participation in the national workforce. The initiatives centered on the apprenticeship and community upskilling programs were designed to provide practical skills and foster a greater self-reliance. Ministry figures show that of the total graduating cohort, 382 were men and 159 were women. Within this group, 255 individuals completed the apprenticeship program, while 286 concluded the community upskilling course. An additional 172 students remain enrolled across both tracks, continuing their training. Officials highlighted that these programs reflect the ministry's mandate to increase youth engagement in the labor market and to reduce reliance on foreign workers. By cultivating a skilled, confident, and self-sufficient domestic workforce, the government aims to ensure that young citizens can sustain themselves through professional integrity and honest labor. Insights into business, Serbia's President Aleksandar Vučić says the Serbian government would allow payments and transactions for the U.S.-sanctioned Russian-owned oil company NIS until the end of the week, despite the risk of secondary sanctions itself.
The temporary measure aims to help NIS pay workers and make other transactions after the U.S. Treasury Department imposed sanctions on NIS in October. Those were part of wider sanctions against Russia's energy industry in the wake of its invasion of Ukraine after a series of waivers since January. Russia's Gazprom Neft and Gazprom, which owns a majority stake in NIS, must dispose of their ownership in the company, which is under U.S. sanctions because of its Russian ownership. Serbia risks secondary sanctions if its banks, including the central bank, maintains payments with NIS, but Vučić said these payments would continue until Monday. Vučić said the country's NIS-owned and only oil refinery, with the capacity of 4.8 million tons, will have to shut down this week unless the company receives a sanctions reprieve. A potential shutdown of the refinery would affect the country's economy as NIS, which employs around 14,000 people, contributes around 5% of Serbia's GDP and around 10% of budget revenue. Serbia has enough short-term reserves and currently imports most of its needs from neighboring Hungary. Vučić warned that the logistics, including distribution of fuel to fuel stations across the country, would be strained due to limited storage and offloading capacities. Last week, Vučić said Belgrade would give Gazprom Neft and Gazprom 50 days to sell their stake in NIS, or the government would take over operations and make an offer to buy them out.
Update on world affairs. The European Council says it reached an agreement with the European Parliament on phasing out Russian gas imports by 2027 as part of an effort to end dependency on Russian energy.
The agreement will include a legally binding stepwise prohibition on liquefied natural gas and pipeline gas imports from Russia, with a full ban from the end of 2026 and autumn 2027 respectively.
Today is indeed a historic day for our Union. Last night we reached a provisional agreement on the Commission's proposal to fully phase out Russian fossil fuels. We're turning that page, and we're turning it for good. This is the dawn of a new era, the era of Europe's full energy independence from Russia. Many believe this would be impossible. Well, the figures speak for themselves, and let me give you some. Today, Russian gas imports, so LNG and pipeline, are down from 45% at the beginning of the war to 13%. Coal imports are down from 51% at the beginning of the war to now 0%. And crude oil imports are down from 26% to 2% today. I always knew that we could deliver with unity, with resolve, and by building on the extraordinary work of the past 3 years.
As of October, Russia accounted for 12% of EU gas imports, down from 45% before its 2022 invasion of Ukraine, with Hungary, France, and Belgium among the countries still receiving Russian gas.
Moving on to sports, two adjacent transparent bins in London became the venue for a silent but heated debate in 2015, with smokers depositing their stubbed-out butts to settle a burning question: who was the best soccer player in the world, Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo?
Ronaldo and Messi have each scored more than 800 goals for club and country, winning 9 Champions League and 13 Ballon d'Or trophies between them. Messi's fans argue that his World Cup triumph for Argentina in 2022 puts him top of the pile, but Ronaldo worshippers cite his titles across Europe's major leagues, a tally of 954 goals, including 143 for his country, and being the most capped male international footballer with 226 appearances for Portugal. Next year's tournament in the US, Canada, and Mexico, when Ronaldo will be 41 and Messi turns 39, will surely be their last. Ronaldo was 21 and Messi almost 19 when they became their country's youngest World Cup goal scorers when they debuted in the tournament in Germany. Messi did not play in the quarterfinals, where Argentina were beaten by the hosts on penalties. The next day, Ronaldo scored the decisive penalty in a shootout with England before facing heartbreak in the semi-finals where Portugal lost to France. 2026 World Cup will be decisive for both legends.
Taking a look at art, the Louvre unveils on Tuesday renovated galleries showcasing 17th and 18th century Italian and Spanish paintings and opened its new gallery on the 5 continents.
The refurbished rooms feature Spanish works, including pieces by Baroque painter Bartolomé Esteban Murillo. The Gallery of the 5 Continents, designed to foster dialogue between cultures, according to the Louvre, brings together more than 200 sculptures from Africa, the Americas, Asia, Europe, and Oceania. The pieces, drawn from the Louvre's own holdings as well as collections from the Quai Branly Jacques Chirac Museum and the Guimet Museum of Asian Arts, are displayed in a vast space that has been under renovation for several years. Among the dialogues are a Rapa Nui Maoai head sculpture from Easter Island standing face-to-face with a pharaonic sarcophagus from ancient Egypt. The world's largest museum, the Louvre, has faced criticism for lax security after a jewelry heist where burglars stole precious pieces from the Napoleonic era. It has closed some rooms recently.
And that's all the news we have for today. We'll be back with any further updates. Until then, I'm Abdullah Ahil from PSM News.